Happy Friday, beautiful souls. How are you all doing? It's Tim in the woods, and you can actually definitively see that I am in the woods today. So, it's the 9th of August, which means we have passed the peak of the Lionsgate energies that occurred yesterday. We'll obviously still very much be in that window and also enjoying the balminess of a Mercury retrograde, which actually caught me by surprise. I think with everything else going on, with all of the energies occurring and the happenings in 3D, it's sometimes gets a little bit overlooked, the ones that we're usually aware of. So what are we going to be looking at today? I think I'm going to be doing a little bit of a continuation of what David and I were working with last night, or to be more realistic, the theme of the year. Because one thing I've noticed, and I was quite surprised by it, is the fact that our entire year has been so resoundingly powerful when we come to an event like the Lionsgate, all the solstices, all the equinoxes. There's almost a feeling that the energy hasn't risen any higher than it was the day before. That's what I'm feeling from it. We sat down to do the work last night, and I got the message that it was almost like a passing out parade, that the work is infinite. There's not more occurring on one day than there is, say, on another, which doesn't surprise me in the slightest, if I'm absolutely honest, because this year has just been so physical. It's been such a physical year. And over the course of this transitionary period, from the 21st of December 2012 up to the now moment, kind of noticed themes with years. We can either have a very physical year, like we're having at the moment, or it can be emotionally based. It can be about clearing the mental body. It can be focused on entirely just shifting karma. But this particular one is all about acknowledging and resetting our beautiful human bodies to be in alignment with the vibration of the 5th dimensional frequencies. And that is a huge task. It's a huge undertaking. And I remember the last time I was walking this particular track, talking about my own personal challenges and the things that I've had to release and let go of. And if I got a sneak preview from this time last year ahead to where I am now, I would never have thought that I'd have made as many physical changes as I have. The things that have been released, the things that I've let go of, the challenging circumstances that will often trigger these releases. It's all happened within the space of 8 months. And that's why I'm finding 2024 at the moment so particularly special, unique, incredibly memorable. If you kind of cast the mind backwards, the memory, sometimes years become a blur, don't they? Particularly with the speed that we're moving, the things that we expect of ourselves, sometimes as a reflection of other people's expectations, some of them of our own. They do become, well, the lines become quite blurred. And you can think, well, what was I doing that year? You know, memories will place you in the year before. But this has been so very specific. It's been exactly as it was described. And I'll never forget beginning the year, working very closely with the energies of Universal Angel Mary, and Mary saying, this is a year to remember your joy. Regardless of what you are working through, what you are presented with, joy is an energy which needs to be cultivated. It's not necessarily something that comes fluidly and easy to many of us. Many of us have actually been taught right from the day that we begin our lives on this planet to live in a state of perpetual unjoy, lack of joy, to seek fulfillment from the endorphins and the sudden rushes, and when they're over, to return back to that kind of that state of needing fulfillment, to seek something constantly. And so this year, for me particularly, and I know that if I'm feeling something, everybody else will be feeling it as well, it's about finding joy in everything that we're doing, regardless of whether that thing happens to be challenging or not. And physical changes, having to make physical changes, actually looking at your life with the perspective of a higher healed soul, can sometimes be very difficult. You have to let go of things that you feel may have kept you alive or safe since childhood. You have to release the habits of the mind, the habits of the voice, the self-depreciation, the things that will have been installed in you since you were very, very small. So if you kind of condense it all, if you kind of like boil it all down, it all comes back to the little version of you, the childhood version of you, whatever age that may be, where you first begun to really take on the impressions of the world, things that weren't meant for you, but you inadvertently adopted regardless, because that's what happens. That is the way that the human mind works, especially in its early years. So we're going through excuse me, the very physical releasing process of that. Those thoughts, those programs, those impressions, the things that we picked up, the habits, all of that will have shaped the human being that we are today. Now, the way that the frequencies have dictated the pace of this year now, where we're going, the agreements that we've all made, the subtleties have disappeared. Okay, there's nothing subtle about the energy that we are collectively agreeing to live in, because they're very high. It's high frequency stuff. The entire concept of living fifth dimensionally, when we were speaking about it 10 years ago, it all sounds very lovely, doesn't it? Oh, imagine living in a fifth dimensional world, where all of our troubles have disappeared and there's no more anger, there's no more war, everyone lives at peace. And it's a beautiful thought. That's what our expectations set the foundation for. But in order to get there, we have to be living as healed human beings. So in order to heal ourselves, we can't regard our own picture as perfect, whilst kind of shipping out the blame to our surroundings, to the way that other people are acting, the world in general. It all begins with us. That internal programming fixed then resets the biosphere of our reality. And that's tough. It's an undergoing, it's a project. It's not something that you can fix overnight. You can't just call in an electrician and say, please rewire this. You have to learn to navigate the fuse box on your own. You have to realise what colour means what in the wiring system. You have to know which fuse operates a certain switchboard of lights, or the ring main for the appliances. All of this is our personal responsibility, to be aware of our stuff, our traumas, our triggers, our shadows, all of the things in many cases that we project outwards, laying upon other people for the woes of our existences of the world. It all comes back down to self-responsibility. Can you imagine, if you will, a fifth dimensional potential in, down the line, filled with humans who hadn't done the work? Okay, try and picture it. Everyone's pretended that they've got into the fifth dimension. Millions, if not billions of people, all living together in inverted brackets or commas, unity. And once the masks fall away, all the shadows come to the surface. But unfortunately, or fortunately, that is not something that can occur, because when you exist in a higher frequency like the one that's been set for us, there are no pretenses. There's no opportunity for masks, for hiding places, for pretense, untruth, if you will. Everything has to be on the table. It has to be visible, which not only gives us the opportunity to willingly love ourselves, but also the opportunity to learn the value of love without condition. And that's one of the divine principles, the first divine principle. And these were brought, or they were translated by Paul Debris Carey. And first one's love. Love is the energy with no obstacles. It has no hooks, no conditions, no what ifs or but ifs. We've all said it, oh, I'd love you so much more if this was different about you, or somebody may have said that to you. all of those conditions, all of those judgments are right there before our eyes now, in the process of falling away. And what better opportunity to witness this from an outside perspective when we are being offered the carnival show of the third dimension at the moment. People's behaviour has never been more apparently divided and erratic than it is at the moment. I mean, I live in the UK. I should think if anybody's got any kind of social media connection or has heard about the situations in the UK, the powers that were are doing their absolute best to sow division, to pit religion against religion, human against human. Circumstances have been generated that cause a situation where you get a problem, reaction, solution. But solutions that they are presenting are only temporary. They will not work. Again, it's the analogy of the firework box that's lit in a rainstorm that fizzes and has the potential to look spectacular before the rain does its rain thing and soaks the box right to the very last grain of gunpowder. That is what is occurring at the moment. So we're seeing people in fear. We're seeing people angry, calling for justice, outrage, righteous anger. And yet it's our job to stay in a state of peace, non-judgment, love, the witness from the higher perspective. But as I've said previously, these circumstances do trigger our emotional side. We are human beings and we must acknowledge that. So if we are drawn in, if it does affect us, if it's close to us, it is only human to respond. But remember that you are here to create change, not to be part of the fuel or the kerosene that is keeping the 3D fires alight. So my lovely souls, it's all about healing the self, the physical, the mental, the emotional, the spiritual. A huge wave of energy went out from Telos last night during the event that I ran with my good friend David Essery, and the effect that it is destined to have will again be stripping down the hiding places of those that are not awake. Not literal hiding places, I mean energetically. So all of these things that we're seeing, they are being instigated by the higher realms to create the circumstances where visibility heals, what we can see, what we can witness, seeing the parts that were hidden previously, not just in ourselves, but in the world around us. And once it has been shown the light, it will then begin its healing process. The dark night of the soul for humanity, for all human beings, is truly upon us. But we've done the work. We've already got to the space where we are in an advantageous position where we can witness this. We can hold our peace if we choose to do so. And that is exactly what we're being asked to do. So my lovelies, I'm going to say that is that for today. I will be back on Monday with a Meditation Monday. I'm going to a lovely event tonight at the Western Village Hall in Dorset. My good friend Karen Main is holding a spiritual gathering with the wonderful Gong Whisperer. If you're in Dorset and you want a decent night out with some amazing vibrations, it's all kicking off at 6:30 and it finishes at 9:30. The Western Village Hall in Dorset. I'll put the event details underneath this video. Love you all. Have a beautiful weekend. I'll see you soon. Bye.